We are witnessing a massive gamble that could either solidify our defense for years or leave us with a $100 million hole in our salary cap. This urgent situation centers on Jonathan Greenard, who we just acquired in a blockbuster trade from the Vikings. Bringing in a player with this much money attached while he recovers from major surgery is the ultimate risk for the front office. This news just broke and it changes every single plan for our season. Jonathan Greenard is officially the newest weapon for our defense, but this move comes with a heavy price tag and even heavier expectations for us right now. Our front office just sent a third-round pick this year and another one next year to the Vikings to get this deal done, while also handing out a staggering $100 million extension. As an insider following every move this team makes, I can tell you that the urgency inside the building is reaching a boiling point. If this really happens and he regains his form, everything changes for us, so subscribe now so you do not miss the next update on this developing story. We needed a closer after failing to land Jalen Phillips earlier this spring, and Greenard is the man chosen to fill that void. He comes to Philadelphia with a reputation as a high-level pass rusher, having notched back-to-back double-digit sack seasons before hitting a wall last year. That wall was a shoulder injury that eventually required surgery and limited him to just 3 sacks in 12 games. We are paying for the guy who dominated in 2023 and 2024, not the injured version we saw lately. The trade happened just moments after we used our second-round pick on tight end Eli Stowers, adding another layer of complexity to a wild draft night. By giving up draft capital and a historic contract, the team is signaling that they believe last year was a fluke caused by physical pain rather than a decline in talent. We are betting the future of our pass rush on a 29-year-old who needs to prove he can still bend around the edge. This is not just a depth move, it is a statement that our defense was not good enough, and we are willing to pay any price to fix it. We need him to be the elite threat that allows the rest of the line to thrive. This deal was reported first by Adam Schefter and confirms that we are going all in to support our young stars like Jalix Hunt, who led us in sacks with a very low number last year. We are adding a veteran presence to a room that includes Nolan Smith and Brandon Graham, and we expect immediate results from this massive financial commitment we just made today. Eli Stowers might be the new face on offense, but the real pressure of this draft cycle has shifted entirely to how this defense responds to such a massive financial investment. We have seen the flashes of greatness from this pass rusher in the past, but this new problem regarding his physical health is exactly why the front office is sweating right now. The gap between his potential to dominate and the current reality of his recovery is where the tension lies for every fan in Philadelphia. We are looking at a player who once terrorized quarterbacks with ease, but now carries the weight of a $100 million contract while rehabbing a shoulder that ended his last season prematurely. The coaching staff is banking on him returning to that elite level because our sack numbers were simply unacceptable last year. When you look at the film from his best seasons, you see a technician who can win with speed and power, but if that shoulder is not 100%, all that investment could vanish. This is the conflict we face as we watch our team build a roster intended to win a championship immediately. We cannot afford another high-priced veteran coming in and struggling to stay on the field. The impact of this move stretches far beyond the depths beyond the offensive line, because it affects how we use our younger players who are still developing. We need a veteran who can lead by example and produce at a high level under the bright lights of Lincoln Financial Field. The front office believes they have found their man, but the history of expensive trades for injured players is filled with cautionary tales that keep us up at night. This is a high-stakes chess match where the pieces are moving faster than anyone expected, and the consequences of being wrong are too high to ignore. We are all waiting to see if he can truly be the force that transforms our defense back into a feared unit, and that journey starts the very second he steps onto the NovaCare Complex fields. This move matters because it is the difference between us having a defense that can win championships and one that lets games slip away in the fourth quarter. If he stays healthy, he helps us win more games because he creates the kind of pressure that forces quarterbacks into making bad decisions. We saw last year how much we struggled to get to the passer, and that lack of production put way too much stress on our secondary. By bringing in a veteran with a proven track record of double-digit sacks, we are trying to solve our biggest weakness in one bold stroke. It is a simple outcome. If he gets 10 sacks, we are likely one of the top seeds in the conference. But if he struggles to stay on the field, we have wasted precious resources that could have been used elsewhere. The impact on our young edge rushers like Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt cannot be overstated because having a premier threat on the other side makes their jobs so much easier. They will see fewer double teams and have more room to work, which could lead to a breakout year for our homegrown talent. This is about creating a ripple effect that makes every level of the defense better. We are tired of seeing opposing quarterbacks stand comfortably in the pocket and pick us apart. This trade is a direct response to that frustration, and it shows that the team is not willing to wait for slow development when they can buy immediate impact. The season could very well hinge on how this pass rush performs, and the pressure is now squarely on the shoulders of our newest acquisition. Every fan knows that in this league, you either have a guy who can hit the quarterback or you are in trouble. We just spent a fortune to make sure we are not the ones in trouble anymore. This is a direct play for a Super Bowl, and the margin for error has never been thinner than it is right now during this critical offseason. The scenarios here are as extreme as they get, and that is what creates this incredible tension for us as fans. In the best-case scenario, we just secured a perennial Pro Bowl talent who will lead our team in sacks for the next 4 years while mentoring our younger players into stars. If this works, we will look back at this trade as a masterstroke that fixed our defense overnight and paved the way for another deep playoff run. He will be the missing piece that completes the puzzle and makes us the most feared pass-rushing unit in the entire league. But if it fails, we are stuck with a massive contract for a player who cannot stay healthy or regain his former explosive speed. That is the nightmare scenario that would haunt this franchise for years because it would eat up our salary cap and prevent us from making other necessary moves. The emotional tension is real because we want to believe in the talent, but the history of shoulder injuries for edge rushers is notoriously difficult to predict. We are essentially betting that a surgery fixed everything and that we are getting the version of him that dominated the league just 2 years ago. The contrast between these two outcomes is what makes this draft night move so polarizing among the insider circles I talk to. Some see a genius acquisition of a top-tier talent, while others see a desperate reach for a player with significant red flags. We are living in the space between those two realities right now, waiting for the first training camp practices to see how he looks in person. If he is the player we think he is, then the rest of the division should be very worried about facing us this year. But if there are any setbacks during his recovery, the pressure on the front office will become unbearable. This is a massive gamble on human health and performance, and the stakes could not be any higher for the future of our team and our quest for another title. To summarize the situation, we have pushed all our chips into the middle of the table by trading for Jonathan Greenard and giving him a massive $100 million deal. It is a bold move that addresses our biggest defensive need, but it carries a high level of risk due to his recent injury history. We are essentially betting our season on his ability to return to elite form and lead our pass rush back to the top of the league. This decision will define the legacy of this front office and could be the factor that determines if we are true contenders or just another team with high expectations. Be honest, would you trust a veteran coming off major surgery with that much money, or would you have rather kept the draft picks to build slowly? This is the debate that will rage on until we see him suit up and hit someone on Sunday. If you want to stay updated on every twist and turn of this story, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on. This isn't just a move for today, it's a decision that will define this team for years.